we're going to be playing a C. We are also going to need a D minor 7. And finally, we are going to be using a G. Okay. The reason I say finally is because in the key of C, those are the 3 chords that you are going to need in this song. There is a key change a little bit later. We're going to talk about that when we get there. But for now, let's just look at the first and most familiar part. Here we go, Sleigh Bells Ring. Okay, so that's the first part of the song. So we're going to just look at the chord shapes here first. First, we have a C. Okay, this is a C major, very, very straightforward, 1, 3, 5, with a C bass in the left hand. If your hands are small, you find it's hard to play the octave, just play a single note. That's fine as well. Okay, I'm going to be playing the octave here. You'll also notice that I have a bit of a pulse in my left hand. If you choose to incorporate that, that's fine. If you find that that throws you off, just play it once and hold it while the right hand plays. Okay, so that's an optional thing there. So C major is our first chord. The next one is a D minor 7. So for those of you who are curious about why this would be called the D minor 7, although we're starting on C here, just imagine that C, we can also play that on top, reposition the hand, and here we have a D minor 7 again. Okay, so we'll just invert that C back down, and here we have a D minor 7. It's just voiced a little bit differently, okay? For those of you who don't really know too much about chords, that's no problem. Play the C, and then you're just going to play the 2 notes on either side of the E here and change the left hand to a D. Okay, after that, we've got a G chord. And again, this G chord isn't immediately evident as a G chord. It's because it is inverted. The G is on top rather than being on the bottom. Okay, we would call this the first inversion of G. So for those of you who are familiar with triads and their inversions, we are playing a G in the first inversion right over here. Now, I'm going to move straight on to the next section, and then we'll put the melody in for all of these, okay? First, maybe actually before you move on to the next section, just review these 3 chords, the C major, the D minor 7, and the G in the first inversion, just like that. Just pause the video, practice that as long as you need to. All right, when you're ready to move on, let's just move that B here to the top. So this is now G in the second inversion. All right, so we were down here before. Let's move the B up, reposition the hand. The left hand is still going to stay on the G. Now, if you were watching closely before when I demonstrated this, you'll notice that the right hand stayed in this exact same chord position and just walked down. I'll show you that one more time. And there on the very last note, we can call that our landing chord or whatever. This one, we do change the hand shape a little bit there. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so over here, we've got that G inversion, and don't worry too much about what the names of the chords are. Just keep on walking that right hand down. Always white notes. There are no black notes needed here. Keep going until you get down here to where you're about to play the C there with finger number 5. Okay, the thumb does still stay on the E, so you could use that shape, except that you need to switch fingers 2 and 3 around. Okay, so, and change the left hand now to a G. So that's the chord progression there. Practice that until you're comfortable with it. What we're going to do now is go back to the beginning, and I'm going to incorporate a melody. If you're not comfortable, maybe you're more of a beginner and you're not comfortable incorporating the melody with the chords, then just play the chords. It's no problem. You can always just provide the melody with your voice or have someone else sing. Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening, a beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Okay, so it's no problem to just play the right hand chords as they are. If you feel like you would like to include a melody here, let's just look. The melody is at the top of each of the chords. The way I have voiced them, you'll find the melody at the top or close to the top. So the very beginning, all we need is the G and the E, okay? And when you add in those harmony notes underneath, you'll notice that they just kind of stay here and the pinky does all the work. Okay, so you play those harmony notes when you feel that it's appropriate. Usually I would play it on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, just like that, okay? Now, we're going to play a very similar melody for In the Lane, Snow is Glistening. Just keep in mind that you're going to be using the D minor 7. In the lane, snow is glistening. Now, you'll notice here, when we landed on the word glistening, you'll just have to play the F together with this G chord that we talked about there before. Just play the F first when you land on this chord. So on the word glistening, just do that on its own for a few times if you need to. Glistening. You'll notice here, actually, these notes, they just always skip over one white note. Okay, so starting on the G here, just skip a note, skip a note, skip a note. You'll find that this fingering pattern here also works the best, to use 1, 2, and 4 here in the right hand. So it's glistening like that. Okay, so let's just do that one more time here from the beginning. Sleigh bells ring. Are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. Now, we're ready to go up here into the second inversion of G. The melody does start on the G, but then other than that, it's just always in the pinky. So you just play the pinky along with the words. Beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. And keep in mind at the end there, we are switching fingers 2 and 3 out there, so you can land there on that C inversion. Now, for Gone Away is the Bluebird, you would do the exact same thing again.